just wanted to see if Hannah Caesar.
Tonight, I want to tell you a little bit about my youngest son. He has always been a curious fella. Ever since he was little, he would pick up June bugs, pop them in his mouth, just to see what they taste like. I used to call him priceless plus a penny because he swallowed a penny because it was there and he wanted to know what it felt like under his tongue. And at one point he swallowed a tack, and at another point he fell into a whole pit of fire ants, and his hands were so swollen I thought they would just become like one giant hand. He's always been this curious fella, and he's always, let me just put it this way. When we walk into the urgent care, they say, welcome back. That's just my son. So we've had some very, minor issues, and we had a little bit of major ones as well. There was one time he was 7, and we had gone fishing out on the Colorado River about an hour outside of Austin. And we were picking up our stuff and getting ready to leave at the end of our morning that we had there. And I sent both my guys off with our tackle, and they were coming back to do the rounds. And I was picking up the last bit of stuff that we had, and the guy at the next hole, I heard say, "Are you okay, son?" And instantly I was like, oh no, something went wrong. And my heart kind of panicked for a second, because certainly he's not talking about my son. He's still at the truck. But I picked up my pace a little bit quicker, and my son came around the bend just as I was, and instantly tears and blood just poured out of his mouth. And as a parent, you're like, what in the world? But you also see him blood, so you just grab his hand, and of course you can't leave the tackle behind. So you grab the tackle, and you take off, and we're walking to the truck as to where our first aid kit, and trying to, thinking, okay, what do I do? He's bleeding, I can't see what's wrong. And we're going through a boat ramp, and he points up, and he points down, and I knew at that moment he had jumped off this 10-foot wall off the boat ramp. And we got to the truck, I looked in his mouth, and his tongue was barely hanging on. His teeth had gone through his tongue. Searching through all of the first aid kits we had 3 in the back of my truck, couldn't find a single thing to help this kid, except for a maxi pad. Rolled it up, shoved it in his mouth, threw him in the truck, and we drove to Austin to have his tongue stitched back together. This is my son. And as he's laying there after his tongue is stitched back together, I asked him, I was like, son, what were you thinking? And he looked at me straight in the eye with those big 7-year-old brown eyes and said, and I was like, oh yeah, your tongue is stitched back together. It doesn't quite work. So after a few tries, I realized that he said, I just wanted to see if I could land on my feet. Good job, son. Proud of you. Did great on that. But I should have not been surprised when several years and many accidents later, one night when I was up in my upstairs room, and then I hear boom, 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 boom. And I realized that someone just had a battle with the stairs, and they did not win. Come rushing around the corner, and there is my son at the bottom of the stairs with a badly broken box of the vacuum I had purchased a few days ago. I go downstairs, and I check his head, and I lift him up, and I carry him to the couch, and I put him down, and I'm just relieved. So I start laughing. I start laughing out of relief, saying, oh my goodness, son, what were you thinking? And he said, I just wanted to see if I could go down the stairs in a box. I just wanted to see. As frustrating, and expensive as my son can be, this is actually one thing that I greatly admire about him. Because he says, I just want to see if. And he puts this big thing on the end of it. It doesn't matter what it is. I just want to see if. And I admire that because as adults, oftentimes, we stop saying, I just want to see if. We get into that regular routine of life, and we stop asking the questions. We stop wondering. We stop asking, I just want to see if I can do this, whatever that is. Whether I just want to see if I can talk to the person behind me in the grocery line. I just want to see if I can play a new sport. I want to see if I can run a 5K because I don't want to run anywhere. I just want to see if. And we stop asking these questions because we lose a little bit of something as we grow older. We temper our curiosity. We temper our passions with what we call reality. Well, reality says, no, Reality says, I can't. Reality says that if I try, I'm going to fail. And we answer our question before we even ask it. We stop asking, I just want to see if, because we don't think we can. We put fear in front of the answer. There are two things, well, before I get there. My son, we were coming back from the urgent care after he went down the stairs in a box. And as we were coming home, he said, Mom, finally, one of my lifelong dreams have come true. I have crutches. Oh, lifelong dream. He wanted crutches. And it came true that night. And we had no sooner got out of the car that night than he started breakdancing with those crutches. He's like, Mom, look, I can breakdance with crutches. He took something that we would see as a pain, as a struggle, as, oh no, you failed. Oh no, you can't do that because you failed at this. You hurt your leg. You tore the tendons off your foot. You're in crutches. You failed. But he said, you know what? My dream came true. You know what? I can break dance. I can take this and make it better. There are two things that I do hope for my son. He's now 15, and he has tempered his curiosity with a little bit more common sense. But there are still two things that I hope for my son. One, as he grows older, goes into manhood, I want him to have the absolute best, amazing health insurance that he could possibly have, because he will need it. But the other thing that I hope for, and I hope for all of you here, is that you continue to ask, I just want to see if, because on the other side of that may be the answer to your lifelong dream. Madam Toastmaster.